Welcome, Age of Vintage Society. Grounded in her human rights work, Mia Farrow can look back at another triumph, the loving home she created for 14 adopted and biological children. But she must also continue to deal with the wreckage from the sensational scandal that almost rent it apart more than 20 years ago. How Mia Farrow has gone through the best and the worst that fame has to offer. Make sure to watch the video until the end and leave your thoughts in the comments. If you are new here, join our wonderful community by subscribing to the Age of Vintage channel. Mia Farrow will always be remembered for her starring role in Roman Polanski's horror classic Rosemary's Baby, and for her many films with Woody Allen in the 1980s and 90s. She became a household name as Alison Mackenzie through the nighttime soap opera Peyton Place. As a celebrity, she is famous for her controversial 2-year marriage to Frank Sinatra, 30 years her senior in the 1960s, her marriage to composer-conductor Andrei Previn in the 1970s, and her very public breakup with Allen in 1992. After getting nominated at BAFTA and the Golden Globe Awards under the Best Actress category, she further appeared in lead roles and exhibited her acting skills through films and theatre. Mia Farrow has worked in over 50 films, winning the hearts of audiences and critics through several engaging performances. She may be known for her delicate beauty, but it's her steely strength that has kept her on screen, from iconic roles in her early career to her scandalous relationship with Woody Allen. Farrow has seen the best and the worst that fame has to offer. Mia Farrow has had a big life. Farrow was born into celebrity, the daughter of actor Maureen O'Sullivan and director-novelist John Farrow. John directed almost 50 movies, produced 6 and wrote more than 25 screenplays, winning an Oscar before dying from a heart attack in 1963. When he married actress Maureen O'Sullivan, who played Jane to Johnny Weissmuller's Tarzan, they had 7 children, including actress Mia Farrow. Her godfather was famed director George Cukor, and her godmother the first film columnist Luella Parsons. Farrow grew up in a strict Roman Catholic household with 6 siblings. She loved to perform for them, their parents and any sightseers driving by on celebrity tour buses. Farrow was a happy child, but a dark period was looming on the horizon. When Farrow was just 9 years old, she was struck by polio during a huge outbreak in Los Angeles County. Some records claim that up to 500 people were hospitalized at the time. The young Farrow was kept in quarantine all alone for 3 excruciating weeks. It was a lot for such a young girl to take, and she later said that the period marked the end of her childhood. It was an experience that left her understanding something of the unutterable pain of being here on this earth. Thankfully, many good times were ahead for the future star, but tragedy has sadly trailed Farrow for much of her life. When Farrow grew up, she continued her education in Spain under her father's guidance. While we mentioned good times were ahead, unfortunately for Farrow, they didn't come in her teens. After her brother Michael tragically died in an airplane crash, shattering her parents' unsteady relationship, her father began drinking heavily, which put a strain on the entire family, to say the least. Not long after, she recalled her father in a drunken rage chasing her mother around with a knife. When she was 17, Farrow, in New York with her mother, spent a night avoiding his calls because she didn't want to tell him that her mother was out with another man. The next morning she learned he'd died of a heart attack. It would be an understatement to say that Mia Farrow had a fraught relationship with her father. In reality, father and daughter were deeply unhappy. The family moved to England and settled in Surrey for a while. At the beginning of the 1960s, the would-be actress returned to the United States. Maureen O'Sullivan went to work on Broadway productions to support the family. When Farrow blossomed into a beautiful young woman, she began modelling to help the family make ends meet. Mia's youth happened in the mid-1960s. She attended various auditions and had extra and episodic parts. Dramas The Guns at Potassi, A Dandy in Aspic, Johnny Belinda. She landed her first role at 18 in a stage production of The Importance of Being Earnest. Farrow gained substantial positive publicity for her early stage work, thanks in large part to her mother's best friend, actress Vivien Leigh, who encouraged casting agents and journalists to attend. One person in attendance was television producer Paul Monash, who promptly sought out the young actress and offered her a role on his upcoming series. Farrow got her first big break on the prime-time soap opera Peyton Place. Regrettably, fame didn't fix things for her, and like many young celebrities, it was difficult for her to handle. "I didn't take to it well," Farrow said. "You can call it pretty, call it whatever you want, but in fact it was grotesque. When I see a very young person dealing with sudden fame now, I say a prayer for them that they don't get lost." Things began happening very quickly for Farrow, who lucked into another small part in the feature film Guns at Petoskey, prior to accepting her role on the experimental TV show. Convinced that no one would tune in to Peyton Place, Farrow began looking for other work, even auditioning for the role of Liesl von Trapp in The Sound of Music. The 20-year-old actress was caught off guard when Peyton Place turned out to be an instant success, consequently turning her into a media sensation seemingly overnight. Now a full-fledged star, her personal life soon reflected her new celebrity status, in no way more so than with her whirlwind romance and marriage to Frank Sinatra in 1966. At 21, Farrow met and fell in love with him, who was 50 at the time. She is as famous for stories of her personal life as she is for her on-screen performances. Farrow's loves, her frustrations, and her search for meaning have all happened in public, which may have dampened her acting career but increased her celebrity. The love they felt for each other was real, but Sinatra was old school. Old Blue Eyes firmly believed that a wife's place was at home, not acting. So Farrow left acting and for 2 years played the role of a dutiful housewife. Of course, she got bored with domestic and agreed to take a title role in Roman Polanski's Rosemary's Baby. Sinatra was furious, but kept a lid on his anger until Polanski's film began running past schedule. Sinatra planned on casting his wife in his movie, The Detective, but when Polanski's film ran over time, Sinatra decided he'd had enough and served Farrow with divorce papers on the Rosemary's Baby set. He cast Jacqueline Bisset in Farrow's place. Despite the sudden end of their marriage, Sinatra always held a candle for Farrow, and vice versa. In fact, if Farrow hadn't gotten the acting itch, they may have stayed together for many years. Farrow said, "In terms of what Frank would say, I shouldn't have done any movies. He's on the record saying, 'I'm a pretty good provider. I can't see why a woman would want to do anything else.' That's the way men thought, and you feel pretty guilty wanting something for yourself," Farrow went on to say. "Then he came back over and over and over and over. I mean, we never really split up." Despite Sinatra's callous behaviour during the dissolution of their marriage, Farrow later admitted that when she was with Sinatra, she acted like an immature teenager, which contributed to the strain on their relationship. There's even a very good chance that one of her sons, Ronan, is actually Sinatra's son. After her marriage with Woody Allen exploded and Farrow literally feared for her life, Sinatra sent a heavy to assuage her fears. She told the mysterious Sinatra heavy that she was afraid Allen would use his Teamster connections to have her killed. He responded, "The Teamsters? Don't worry about it. We own the Teamsters." He also gave her a list of numbers to call if she ever felt in danger. Farrow has also expressed her feelings for Sinatra, saying she loved him till the day he died and beyond. After her divorce from Sinatra, Farrow began acting again to great success. However, her love life continued in chaotic fashion. She started dating composer Andrei Previn, who at the time was still married to singer-songwriter Dori Previn. She became pregnant by Previn in 1969. Andrei left his wife and they were divorced soon after Farrow gave birth to twin boys. That spawned the infamous song "Beware of Young Girls" by Dori Previn. It excoriates Farrow, claiming that the pair had been friends, but that Farrow had a dark and different plan. Mia Farrow and Andrei Previn's marriage lasted 9 years, and during this time Farrow's motherly instincts blossomed. The couple had 3 children of their own and adopted another 3. In the end, Farrow would continue to adopt children from extremely difficult backgrounds, eventually becoming the mother to 15 total. In the final verse of Dori Previn's song "Beware of Young Girls," she concludes with a brutal line. She predicts that she will leave him one thoughtless day. She'll just leave him and go away. Whether or not that's exactly what came to pass, Farrow and Previn did divorce. After 9 years of marriage, the duo went their separate ways in 1979. With Rosemary's Baby, Farrow finally found respectability and critical acclaim as an actress, and she was determined to continue on that path. She appeared in films opposite megastars like Elizabeth Taylor and Robert Mitchum, and other up-and-comers like Dustin Hoffman. But soon enough she'd make history all on her own. In 1971, Mia Farrow became the very first American actress to join the prestigious Royal Shakespeare Company. She would go on to act in numerous critically acclaimed stage productions in London throughout the 70s. It was shortly after her divorce from Previn that Farrow began her most infamous relationship of all, with director Woody Allen. While they never married, their relationship would last an unlucky 13 years. Farrow's relationship with Allen was incredibly fruitful for her career as an actress. Allen is now notorious for repeatedly casting certain actresses, sometimes called his muses, in his films. In Allen's 1984 film Broadway Danny Rose, Farrow went to extreme lengths to play against type. In order to portray a woman who gets mixed up with the mob, Farrow gained weight and spoke in a heavy Italian accent, with many saying she was unrecognisable. Farrow's impressive performance earned her a Golden Globe nomination. But none of her early experiences with notoriety could prepare her for the frenzy that greeted her breakup with Allen, which occurred after Farrow discovered explicit Polaroids he had taken of her then college sophomore daughter, Soon Yi. Allen and Soon Yi subsequently married. A few months later, Farrow and Allen were still trying to co-parent the 3 kids they shared when their 7-year-old daughter, Dylan, accused him of abuse, which Allen denies. A brutal custody battle followed, during which Allen's camp portrayed Farrow as a vindictive woman and a bad mother. Meanwhile, the emotionally battered actress sought comfort in the 2 usual places, family and work. Adopting 6 more children between 1992 and 95, she embarked on the next phase of her career, sans Allen. She employed her seemingly fragile persona to good effect in the dark comedy Widow's Peak. Her life is structured around the losses she's experienced. It was through the tragedies that I rebuilt myself each time, she said, and to read it is to understand how Farrow became a person so keenly aware of the way pain and joy can coexist, of humanity in its hideousness and its brief quivering beauty. It is to wonder at the way a person's life, nuanced, imperfect, ever-changing, gets distilled down to a single interlude in the public eye. But it's also to realise Farrow has intersected with an almost improbable number of notable figures in pop culture and beyond. But the major focus of Farrow's life is on her work as a social activist, especially in the region of Darfur in Africa. She is also a UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador and has contributed for the progress of the Darfur tribe. She has worked for child, woman and human rights, with appearances in many documentaries about the problems being faced by people in Africa. Due to her noble work for mankind in 2008, Time magazine named her one of the most influential people in the world. Farrow was both a brilliant actress and a voice for children around the world. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new here, and if you want to support my work, please visit my Patreon page. Now it is your turn. What do you think about the life and legacy of Mia Farrow? Mia Farrow is not just a pretty face, she is known for her volunteer work for humanitarian causes.